Welcome back to the episode. We are again in front of the elevator, and it's time for us to get a galaxy map. We're gonna do some side missions around here and a little bit of exploration on wherever they are right now. The Kite's nest. We're also going to find some artifacts down here, but right now we are going to check up on Indris. So yeah. And there's also this Kava station, whatever this one is supposed to be. So let's just start with Hebar over there. The hydrogen helium gas giant Hebar has an unstable orbit, which over time has led to it clearing the space around it of asteroids and protoplanetary material. As a result, its rings are thick and quite visible. And the little one, Macklin. Macklin is the outermost planet of the Indris system, a ball of rock and ice with a methane-argon atmosphere. Like Hebar, it has an unstable orbit, but where Hebar is believed to have formed closer to the star and gradually moved outward, Macklin is believed to have formed further from Indris and moved inward. Far in the future, Macklin may become a satellite of its gas giant neighbor. There's something hidden over here. Okay, let's remember that. And Cholis. Or Cholis. Cholis is a large rock planet wreathed in a haze of carbon dioxide and xenon. It was discovered by Batarian astronomers during the last century and first visited in the 2150s by hegemony survey teams. A small number of colonists lived in aerostat habitats above its oppressive cloud layer, harvesting carbon dioxide. No habitats can be detected now. It's likely the Reapers eliminated them or the colonists submerged into the scorching atmosphere in an attempt to hide. And Kamala. Kamala is a relatively small but Iso-rich garden world recently colonized by the Batarians. In an unusually open gesture, the Batarians allowed immigration of free citizens of other species, so long as they came from independent colony planets, such as those in the Traverse and Terminus, and retained non-citizen status during their stay. These strictures were small obstacles compared to the economic lure of Iso, and soon the planet boasted spaceports and refineries that considerably enriched the hegemony. The planet enjoyed relative peace and prosperity, with a major lifestyle inconvenience being fresh water shortages due to a dry climate. The Reaper invasion has turned Kamala's cities from affluent oases into a living nightmare. Alliance intelligence suggests that early in the Reaper invasion, a high percentage of the planet's population was captured and converted to husks, creatures for future offensives. The processing camps still run night and day, and the troop transports fly legions of cannibals every hour. For this reason, Alliance Command has put Kamala squarely in its sights for military strikes. And Ramlat. Ramlat is a small rock planet with a thin atmosphere of hydrogen and ethane. During the rush to exploit Kamala from Iso and other materials, Ramlat supports a small but steadily growing population. Since the system was bereft of the significant asteroid belt, Ramlat became the go-to location for second-tier miners looking for work. Its tin and gold industry was modestly profitable, but with the Reaper attack today, it is a wasteland scarred by the craters of kinetic impact weapons. Right, so let's get
I found something.
And we got collars over there. And then some invisible thingamajig. So let's start scanning that thing. Still a wee bit further, and there it is. So, what kind of fleet is it? Governor Grothan Pazness. Interesting name. So this one is at 50. There's the station over there. But I also need a little bit of fuel. Let's hope this one doesn't reach 100%, otherwise I'm screwed. Alright, let's keep that. Alright, so this is now at 100%. So what is this cover station? Oh, it's destroyed. Alliance Intelligence reports that there was once a sizable military station trailing Heba that was tasked with arming and refueling ships to repel pirates, slave revolts, and foreign invasion. The Reapers wasted little time to destroying it during their conquest of Kamala. That's not good. That's definitely not good. Can it be that they just destroy any station or whatever? So wait a minute, this is at 77. Mass relays over there. I don't know if I have explored Untrell or not. But yeah, let's just get over there. This is Vana. Oh no, 3 asteroid belts, you gotta be kidding me. It will take a little bit of time to figure out if there's something interesting down here. My guess is there's some... There. Now the ship actually made. Okay. If you start the ship, it makes a little bit of sound. But then later it just stops. Very interesting. And it's completely silent. Okay, wait a minute. Was it silent down here? Or did I skip something? Kind of felt as if there was something. Okay. Oh. Okay, there's something over here. I have to check that. So let's just start with this one. Elsbat. Elsbat was a wealthy Batarian colony, rich in farmland, minerals, and manufacturing infrastructure. Little recent information about it has escaped the section of space, but radio traffic from the planet paints a dire picture. Indoctrinated Batarians officials are offering rewards for every living body brought to the labor camps, slave or not. With the state apparatus at their disposal, Reaper units are coordinating house-to-house hunts for residence members and paying those who turn them in. Government propaganda dismisses the smell of the processing ships as a natural byproduct of Reaper energy consumption. Columns of dust from annihilated cities tell the story of those who disobeyed. Azimir. Azimir is a hydrogen-helium gas giant whose gravitational pull perturbs the orbit of 2 nearby asteroid fields, adding momentum so that asteroids shatter during collisions rather than accrete into planets. Debris from a great battle can be seen here. Batarian naval ships, merchant ships, and a few Reaper destroyers have been pounded into wreckage. It appears that the Batarian Navy tried to defend the helium-free refueling stations, giving civilian ships time to escape the system. So this one might be a source of, yeah, some interesting stuff. Maybe some war-related assets. Alright, and then there's Vana over there. Let's see. Do we land on it or do we scan it? Weird. A large rock planet, Vana is covered in prodigious amounts of dry ice, leaving only thin traces of gas for its atmosphere. Uranium deposits drew Batarian miners to Vana long ago, and when that was exhausted, they moved on to its magnesium. The Reapers have exterminated the colony here, punching holes in the domed cities and leaving its occupants to asphyxiate. Alright, so it looks like I have to check those two.
Signal confirmed.
Oh boy, too many Reapers. So this is one where we can land. Somewhere over. Oh, okay, right there. You don't need to land, that's very interesting. Black market artifacts. There you go. So this is the one for the black market that we need on the Citadel. Wait a minute. Okay. Once you scanned the thing, and once you go back, you cannot rescan stuff again. So this one was at 50%, and then there was something hidden over there. Need to get that, and then we need to leave immediately, because then the Reapers will probably come up. Huh, that's weird. Alright, anyway. I'm gonna go directly to Hasa. Yeah, that's good. So, find artifact. Wait, it said find artifacts, sir. Wait a minute. Didn't I get the artifacts already? Blue Suns. Find a way to... No, it was at 100%. The thing is, it still says find artifacts. Yeah, we got the artifacts. Now the message is gone. It just took a little while to refresh. Alrighty. So we got the artifacts. That's good. Now, what other side mission can we go? Into Kite sensors, this one over there. Rescuing the students. This one has to wait a little bit. But I could at least explore everything. Go to Dock 42. This is RIT Logs thing. And I need to write that down, actually. It's one of my to-do things. Ismar Frontier and Crescent Nebula. Yeah, let's check Ismar Frontier first. The thing is, Ismar Frontier doesn't have Reapers on it. So there may actually be a somewhat peaceful environment. So, Polyno. A relatively small hydrogen-helium gas giant, Polyno remains undeveloped, while its sister planet Metaponto garners all the attention. This was not always the case. 2180, news stories seeded throughout the extranet claimed that Element Zero was being found on Polyno's moons in record loads. This turned out to be a scam, spread by the Duna Wura Chum consortium, an Elcor corporation trying to scare up investors. After a small fleet of space probes scouted the area, the hype quickly deflated, and the myth only persists now in unwanted extranet mail messages. And Metaponto. A hydrogen-helium gas giant, Metaponto has developed a helium-free fueling station funded by Elcor business interests, who hope to bring enough attention to the system to attract terraforming investors and thus eventually develop Volturno as a habitable world. Thus far, they have met with little success. Vecchio. Sounds almost Italian. Vecchio is a moderately sized terrestrial world with a thin, hot atmosphere of carbon dioxide and nitrogen. Initial surveys found trace amounts of iridium, but little else of interest in the silicate desert sands that cover much of the surface of the planet. On a recent tour, the Alliance surveyor ship Coupe discovered a group of partial graves hidden in the equatorial mountain ranges. The ancient skeletons in the burial sites are obviously humanoid, but incomplete and poorly preserved, which has made them difficult to identify. Fragments of primitive ceramic grave goods were also found nearby. This raises further question about who once traveled to this inhospitable planet, since the closest garden world, Volturno, has no intelligent life. Human universities are planning further archaeological investigations. Until they just decide not to go at all. And Lepini, or Lepini, a hydrogen-methane gas giant, Lepini, and its moons have been curiously scanned by space probes and found to have little in the way of rare resources. The galaxy at large considers it unremarkable. And Volturno. You have to pronounce it that way, it's just perfect. A so-called super-Earth. Volturno is home to organic life, but is nevertheless uninhabitable for the near future. Currently in an ice age, most of the planet from the latitude of 30 degrees north or south is a frozen wasteland, and so most organic life, limited to algae and lichens, resides near the equator. The strong gravity prevents any sapient species but Elcor from thriving on the planet, and the Elcor cannot breathe the planet's atmosphere, which contains lethal amounts of carbon dioxide in addition to its oxygen. Small packs of Vorcha squatters are attempting to take the planet for themselves illegally, but most of them live miserable existences in the planet's crushing gravity and die from falls and medical complications. Only terraforming on a massive scale would turn Volturno into a habitable world, and the Elcor lack the political capital with the Citadel Council to begin such an effort. Too bad.
I found something.
There's something on Metaponto. So, what do we get? What do we get? What do we get? Probably just more war assets. Or maybe advanced biotic implants. Intel. Hey, look at that. That sounds good. Wait a minute. Advanced biotic implants. This is also related to a mission. There was a biotic in the... where was that one? I think the one with the implants was in Vular Memorial. This was in Asari or something. Anyway, we got that stuff. Ismar Frontier is at 100%. The next one will be Crescent Nebula. No Reaper's present. Oh, it's just so stupid. I can't always be like that. Alright. Oh no. This one is a large one. Okay. Let's go to Lusarn first. Starting with Xetic. A methane ammonia gas giant, Xetic is best known for the infamous Calthor camp, established on the ice moon of Gezis. Calthor was a Blue Suns hostile environment training facility run by a cadre of former Batarian Special Intervention Unit operators. In 2168, a cluster-wide scandal broke out when it was revealed that the mortality rate of recruits sent to the camp might be as high as 18%. Investigation by Asari authorities based on Illium uncovered graves around the facility containing the remains of several hundred recruits dating back 2 decades. The camp was immediately closed and the remains sent back to their world of origin. An inquest by the Blue Suns found the Batarians had used harsh training methods, but these were consistent with their own training to join the SIU. The Batarians were exonerated, though Calthor was shut down and they were reassigned to other units. No criminal charges were filed against the Blue Suns. Council law did not extend to the Crescent Nebula, and the Asari on Illium found the Blue Suns self-policing to have met their due diligence requirement for corporate justice. Wonderful. So, Tarith. Wait a minute. I just wrote this name down like a few... I think 1 or 2 days ago. Anyway, Tarith is a broadly Earth-like with a fatal flaw. It has a relatively high amount of chlorine in its atmosphere. The reason for the greenish haze that becomes apparent when looking at the horizon, chlorine has become a vital component in Tarith's plant life. As a defense mechanism against native herbivores, many species evolved the ability to release clouds of toxic chlorine when disturbed. This gas is heavier than the atmospheric oxygen and tends to settle in low places. While avoidable, this has placed Tarith in the bottom of lists for colonization. The Reapers have paid little attention to Tarith, concentrating on planets with high populations. So if a planet is very little populated, there will be no or very little Reapers. It's actually kind of interesting. And also an interesting way to stay safe from the Reapers as well. Just scatter so that just there's one person per planet and then wait until the Reapers are gone. Now wait a minute, the Reapers have to go at one point as well, right? They do come into the galaxy and then they retreat back into dark space. But they do have to get back somehow. So yeah, we got Xetic, we got this Tarith thingy, and Doriae. Doriae is a large, hot world with a poisonous atmosphere of acidic nitrogen oxides. While the planet is too close to Lusarn for this to condense and fall as rain, this makes the environment too hostile for forms of life more sophisticated than bacteria to evolve. So there's nothing on this one. So I expect there to be a broken fuel station up here. Ah? Bayalt. An asteroid. Lusarn's heat pummels the Nirana belt, a ring of protoplanetary material relatively close to the star. However, this heat is not enough to instigate true melting as occurs in a planet's formation, so carbonaceous asteroids such as Biotic retain a primitive makeup. Biotic has yet to be exploited, so the Reapers appear to have ignored it. Probes suggest it is high in chondrites and troilite. We got that one. This one was the right. And Ointanta, or Euntanta. Ointanta is remarkably close to Earth. Its orbital distance is similar, and while slightly larger, its reduced and density yields similar mass. Atmospheric pressure and gravity, there the similarities end. Lusarn is a hot class F star, emitting over 8 times the energy of Sol. Euntanta is a parched wasteland. Its water long since boiled away into its nitrogen carbon dioxide atmosphere. A handful of mining outposts dot the hellishly hot surface. The crews remain in underground bunkers, sending remotely controlled machines out at night to do surface work and load cargo for shipment. It does not appear the Reapers have struck here yet. 230 people only. And Yontan, or Yontan. Yontan is a fairly standard close-orbiting Pegasid, a gas giant. Orbiting the star Lusarn at high velocity and heated to temperatures of over 1000 degrees, analysis of its orbit has revealed a core of heavy elements with a mass double that of planet's hydrogen-helium atmosphere. The Reapers appear to have ignored Yontan, favoring targets that have some level of habitation. There's nothing there. Oh no, the Reapers are coming. That's not good. That's definitely not good. Okay, somewhere over here is probably a fuel station, maybe the only one. Don't really believe it though. Ah, yeah, wait a minute, this thing.
Signal confirmed.
Be out. Hey, credits, nice. 50%, you gotta be kidding me. I was right. So, I'm just going to lure as many of those Reapers in here as I can. And there it is. So we got the fuel, we got it at 100%, now we can go back to Tasale, or Tasale. Right. Okay, let's first go around this asteroid belt. Ah, okay, Toykria. Let's start with this one. Named for a legendary Asari archer from Thessia's Iron Age, Toykria is an asteroid large enough to qualify as a dwarf planet, or as some term it, a mesoplanet. Its gravity is sufficient to give it a spherical shape, developed for nickel and iron mining. Toykria was abandoned before the Reapers reached the system. Its facilities are now dark and cold. The Reapers are only interested in living organisms that have a capability of thinking. That's weird. Naxel. Naxel is an ammonia methane ice giant. Several smaller energy corporations shut out of the big market in the fire gateway systems were attempting to develop a local helium-free fueling mining infrastructure to service Illium. The leading investor was the human corporation Eldfell Ashland Energy. Their efforts were hampered by the extra legal pressure the H3 cartels in the fire system brought to bear, from simple price undercuts to bureaucratic obstructions, denied permits and constant health and safety inspections. EAE, Eldfell Ashland Energy, abandoned the facilities before the Reaper invasion and collected no insurance settlement since the Reaper attack fell under. Wars and acts of God, however, skillful legal wrangling let their losses here leverage their rights to acquire any destroyed Reapers near their facilities, which may turn out to be highly profitable once the proverbial smoke clears and once the Reapers are actually dying. But I don't think there are any one of them dying. And Tyil is a typical hydrogen helium gas giant. Its complex system of rings is unstable, dating back only a few million years. They are thought to be the shattered remains of a comet. Oh, that's Illium, and look at that. Can we land here though? No. Illium is a classic garden world, an anthropod between the Terminus systems and the Asari republics. To abet this trade, the normally stringent custom laws of council space on product safety, prescribed materials, and sapient trafficking are relaxed. The world is hot and massive ground settlement is only possible at the higher polar latitudes. In more equatorial locations, the population is housed in arcology skyscrapers to escape the heat of the surface. Reaper forces met a surprising amount of resistance at Illium. Its leaders were paranoid about keeping their fortunes and were influential in both Terminus and Citadel space. They outfitted their large defense fleet with a high number of fission weapons, and in the brief space battle used them on the Reaper fleet's troops transports rather than their near impervious capital ships. As a result, the inevitable ground invasion has been slowed to a crawl as the Reapers manufacture more troops. Yeah, but the Reapers are still there, but anyway. So they shoot them with nukes. Beregal. Beregal, while not a classical hothouse world like Venus, Beregal is scarcely more hospitable. In addition to being closest to the star Tasale, its core contains many radioactives and other heavy elements. These increase the heat of the planets and drive volcanism. Beregal's crust is too rigid for plate tectonics to function, and the planet will go through cycles in which the pressure builds to a massive supervolcanic eruption. These spew ejecta over thousands of kilometers, leave caldera a 100-kilometer across, and spew enough molten material to repave entire continents. The last such event was 812,000 years ago. The current rate of outgassing from volcanic hot spots suggests another will occur within the next 10 millennia. So is it a long or a short distance? Anyway, Ponolos. A fairly typical Venusian hothouse. Ponolos seems almost tame compared to the violent volcanic outbursts of the inner world Beregal. In contrast, Ponolos is nearly inert, with no active volcanoes or violent plate tectonics. The most dramatic event in the last million years was the foundering of the Asari Aerostat research platform Al-Viusik in 2092, which fell after being holed by an improbable unlucky meteor. Most of the crews successfully reached escape capsules, but 6 were lost. The crushed wreck of the platform now lies on the Cryosite plain in the southern hemisphere. With no population to speak of, Ponolos has been ignored by the Reapers. So, and this other planet thingy. Really?
I found something.
Okay, so Illium we could go to and scan. That's weird. Okay, this way. And we got ourselves liquid acids. Whatever that means. Maybe they really mean something liquid, as in watery. Or they do mean something completely different. Like money. Like liquidity. screwed. And there it is. Oh, that's close. Oh, come on. Okay, anyway, we know where to go. So it's somewhere over here and there.
I found something.
There you go. Easy. So we got this stuff. Then we're getting a little bit more fuel so we don't have to buy anything. Wonderful. And then I just have to make sure everything is at 100%. Alright. The thing is, I don't know if I actually checked all the planets or not, or if I have to do that or whatever. Yeah. The only important stuff is if you actually put some probes on the planet. So that might be okay. Good. So, Crescent Nebula is now done. It's kind of annoying that you can attract Reapers. Like, this one here, that would make sense if you actually attract Reapers. But all of these areas here that have no Reaper presence for now should actually still be without Reapers, even afterwards. So, Shrike Abyssal 50%. So I need to get the other 50%. I think there's another system that just popped up. Oh.
Evasion successful.
Okay, there's Kyzil and Thal. Let's go to Thal and then to Kyzil. Right. We got ourselves asteroids around here. That's neat. The thing is, you can just save, scan everything. Oh, and there is Vidits. Vidits is a large stony asteroid in the Thal System's Rakari belt. There are no records of its colonization, but it is included on star charts as it is well known by astronomers on Alta Kiril who could observe it with low-power telescopes during certain portions of its orbit. So there's one on the right. There's probably also a broken fuel station somewhere, but we have to find that one. Question is just, is it in between the orbit lines or is it on the orbit lines? It's always something to figure out. Alright. Oh, and Tyrix. Tyrix, one of the largest objects in Thal's asteroid belt, is a metallic asteroid with an iron-nickel core under a rocky olivine mantle. It is possibly a remnant protoplanet, prevented from forming into anything bigger by gravitational disturbance from Xerkiel. Alright, let's start with this one. Saraite, or Saraite, yeah. A large terrestrial. Saraite's methane-rich atmosphere might be mistaken for that of a true hothouse planet. However, some terraforming corporations have targeted it for development, since Saraite has already given rise to some cyanobacteria in the liquid water that can be found near its poles. There's some evidence that the planet has been fluctuating between methane-heavy and oxygen-heavy atmospheres for several million years, each cycle dependent on the nutrients in the ocean that led to bacterial growth or crashes. Star charts catalog several scientific stations studying Saraite, but all appear to have been destroyed by the Reapers. Reapers don't like science. And Garan. Garan is the innermost planet of the Thal System, which is less than 2.56 million kilometers from its K-class parent star, which is very close. It's like extremely close. Like if you are living in a village, this is inside a village. Temperatures on the sunward side of this tidally locked planet reach more than 2800 Celsius, boiling away earth and stone. These gases are then carried away by wind from the hottest point to the zone where temperatures are cool enough for the gaseous mixture to recondense, leading to the unusual weather phenomenon of rains of rock. Grothan remains largely unexploited by commercial interests, as the heat of the star tends to ward off all but well-funded collection ships, like the so-called Inferno class, that mine Aysur near energetic stars. Grothan does not appear to have Aysur, and its other elements are not worth the setup cost. Or they could just push the whole thing away from it. That could also work. Alta Kiriel is a garden world on the outer edge of its star habitable zone. The planet is largely frozen, yet it features native dextroamino acid-based life in its lowest latitudes. These species evolved to withstand periodic freezing and compensate for the cold with spectacular population explosions during the long, mild summers. Hardy, independent-minded Turians colonized the planet. The Croyans briefly considered contesting them, but they're daunted by the virulence of the planet's infectious life during the growing season, not to mention the colonists who had ties to warlords elsewhere in the Shrike Abyssal. Alta Kiriel's citizens were wiped out by Reaper's bombardment, despite the planet having a reasonably high population, which would usually make it a candidate for harvesting. Allied intelligence suggests that the colonists kept anti-space defense weaponry in population centers, so the Reapers limited their risk by destroying the threat and moving on. And there. Somewhere over... There we go. This one over there. And the big one here, Xerxio. Wow, that looks beautiful. It's always nice to see those rings just take up the whole screen. A hydrogen-helium gas giant, Xerxio. Many moons were developed along with the colonization of Alta Kiriel. It is believed that the majority of them were military in nature, and a common theme among Turian colonies. Specifics are few. Alta Kiriel's government kept its record classified, and the Reapers have systemically destroyed the installations here. Right. So there's definitely something here. Let's get this one for the fuel. It's 50%. What was the thingy? There was one somewhere over there. And then there was another one somewhere up here on the top, I believe. Yeah. If you scan... Oh, Vorcha labor team. Nice. So now we got that one. If you scan, but you are very far away from the outer ring, then I believe the... Yeah, the Reapers will not get your attention. So, what do we have here? There's definitely a broken fuel station around here. We just have to find it. So, where is it? It's definitely somewhere. There always is a broken fuel station. Come on. Okay, maybe not this time. Nazkral. Nazgul is a small, hot, tidally locked inner planet that had modest mineral development on its dark side. Within a generation of the Vorcha's first contract with a spacefaring species, robot mining interests attempted to exploit it, only to find their trading partners violently overthrown on a regular basis. The Vorcha's own culture disenfranchised them in Nazgul's case, as their legal claims to the planet were inevitable, backed by the violence as a show of dominance. This nuance was lost on the mining corporations, who hired mercenaries to guard their operations with lethal force and never surrendered in the Vorcha claimants. The Reapers sent a small force to destroy Nazgul's orbital stations and surface facilities. There's no indication that there are any survivors. Heshtok. A Systems Alliance official once summarized his tour of the Vorcha homeworld as follows. You can make your own Heshtok in 2 steps. Take Hell, then add Vorcha. The planet is highly volcanically active, leading the periodic releases of toxic gases into the air and water supplies, as well as other extreme situations that gave rise to the Vorcha's legendary adaptability. Overcrowding and the extermination of most of their ecology led to a planet covered in weeds and hardy vermin. The Vorcha do not have a recognized single government that would allow them membership in any galactic league. Alliance between bloodlines are tenuous at best, and the Vorcha's short, violent lives ensure there are few lasting institutions. The Reaper invasion of Heshtok encountered little formal military resistance, but the harvesting process is slow. Destroying neighboring cities fails to intimidate a Vorcha, who become submissive only if physical dominated in person. Cutting off their water supply simply makes them adapt their bodies to get moisture from food. Allied intelligence hypothesis that Reaper forces are not harvesting, yet instead seeking to mobilize Heshtok's population and prevent them from joining the fight for the galaxy at large. Population, lack of census data, spreads estimates from 6 to 9 billion pre-invasion. Capital is Hatash. And Parask. A lifeless desert, Parask was colonized soon after first contact with the Vorcha. Several Asari mining corporations worked with a Siari-based charity called Mind and Hand, built settlements on the planet's surface and orbital stations, adopting Vorcha orphans from Heshtok. They raised them to live non-violent lives and employed them in the mining industry. That works, okay? While Mind and Hand's efforts were at first labeled colonialists, the orphans became minor celebrities when it was discovered that the Vorcha habit of using violence to communicate was not completely innate. Several spoke throughout Citadel space on behalf of their species, but their short lifespans kept their careers very brief. Even today, companies that want Vorcha labor have the poor choice between adopting and educating them as youngsters, just to watch them age and die, or dealing with autonomous but violent adults. The Reaper invasion devastated Parask. Its industrial capacity was ruthlessly targeted, and the Vorcha mining communities were exterminated. The only silver lining is that the devs here have created martyrs, inspiring other alien-raised Vorcha to fight for their galaxy. And the big question is, how long do Vorcha actually live? Because Salarians are also very short-lived, but they seem to get along. So, Lyraz. The hydrogen and helium gas giant Lyraz was the site of a brief and decisive battle between Vorcha and Reaper forces. It was politically characterized on the news wits as millennia-old death machines versus a gang of teenagers, a reference to the Vorcha's brief lifespan and inexperience. In reality, many of the ships were commanded by other species to avoid this shortcoming, but the insult still sticks. The defenders outnumbered the Reapers, but the force was comprised of light ships suitable to a militia, since never before had it been in anyone's best interest to allow Vorcha to build a dreadnought. Superior Reaper firepower soon wiped out the Vorcha fleet, and the fuel infrastructure around Lyrat was pulverized. Rumors abound that the Reaper did not lose a single ship. Okay. That's that the other one is. Rustaka. This methane ammonia gas giant was swept past during the Reaper invasion, and once its helium-free collection equipment was destroyed, it was largely ignored. Vorcha ships that survived the attack on Heshtok and Lyrat can be found discharging their drive cores here before making spy sorties or retreating further into space.
I found something.
So, this is where we can get some fuel. And then there could be something on... not there. Okay. We still got a little bit of space. Between, like, distance between us and that Reaper, which is okay. Did it? Yes. Void Devils Fighter Wing. Where? Always make sure where your mouse is at.
Eluded.
Okay, 100% on Shrike Abyssal. Let's get back. Oh no. Not good, not good, not good, not good, not good.
Faster than light jump successful.
Oh boy. Okay. This is definitely weird. So, I am going to refuel again on the Anus Basin. And then I'm going to scan just two more clusters. Let's see. The diplomats can wait. Yeah, everything is safe for now. Oh boy. If they destroy the fuel station here, I'm screwed. So, Petra Nebula. Let's scan this one. And once we've scanned everything, we can finish all the side missions in the next episode. Oh, Gilead. Or Gilead. The largest object in the Klein Belt, Gilead, is a stony dwarf planet of rock and ice. Mined for its nickel, it is notable for a recent collision with another asteroid. The residents had several weeks of advanced warning and set up recording devices before they evacuated the planet. After selling footage of the asteroid strike to extranet news corporations, the residents found they were now somewhat famous, as well as a little wealthier than before. Of the 221 residents, all but 25 proceeded to leave the nickel business. So you just need good footage of an asteroid impact, and then everything's good. Yopha. A modestly sized hydrogen-helium Jovian planet. Yopha is close enough and reflective enough to be seen in Elysium's night sky. It orbits in retrograde, possibly indicating that it was in extrasolar capture. Human and alien consortiums compete fiercely for the rights to gather helium-free from the planet, since Elysium's favorable position along trade routes means high profit. Oh yeah, wait a minute, because this one has a mission I can scan as wildly as I want, right? There's always this nice little bonus that you get. Alrighty. And Sidon. A large terrestrial planet with a wide, cold desert. Sidon has a trace atmosphere that is principally carbon monoxide. Alliance planners found its gravity agreeable, however, and built a small domed research facility on the planet in the 2160s. The project was classified until recently, when Blue Sun's mercenaries who allegedly attacked the facility were apprehended and brought to trial, revealing the facility's extents in open court. Eager to counter the negative publicity, Elysium investment firms now advertise that Sidon is free military facilities and just minutes away from the garden world that, thanks to recent improvements in faster-than-light travel. Whether or not the marketing attracts development remains to be seen. Tyri or Tyre or Tyr. Tyri is wrapped in a crushing atmosphere of nitrogen and carbon monoxide that make for a blistering oven of planet. Clouds of ash from volcanic eruptions trigger frequent lightning storms on the surface, and the majority of its mining deposits are metal poor, not worth the expense of mining. And Elysium. When searching for a colony to retire to, Alliance hero John Grissom said he wanted the one where the sun has the decency to set at a reasonable time. Elysium fulfilled this criteria and many more, featuring low gravity, intolerable atmospheric pressure and a suitable climate. Humans and aliens alike flocked to the Alpine paradise early in its colonial years, and the planet remains a vibrant hub for both visitors and permanent residents. Security is a constant concern for Elysium. The planet has suffered several pirate or mercenary attacks, including the Skillian Blitz in 2176. Elysium's airspace is secured by mobile planetary defense cannons. Its armed starship complement its relatively light. Material and volunteers from Elysium formed part of the Alliance's second fleet, which was stationed near Arcturus before the fleet was destroyed by the Reapers. So then we got like the Grissom Academy. Oh, interesting tea. We're not going to land, and we are not going to read that flavor text. It's there for when we actually need it. Is there really nothing up here? Come on. I mean, you don't need a fuel station if you can't leave the sector, right? Okay, so there really is nothing. Except if there's something down there, though. Oh, come on, really? Vetus has absolutely nothing? Okay, this is really weird. Did I find some hidden station down here? No. Okay. So this one is pretty much empty for now. And Caleston Rev. Let's check this one. We have to make sure to not accidentally land somewhere. Okay. Oh, that looks beautiful. It's a nice shining sun here. Oh, Bres. So, Caleston, or Caleston, is the largest satellite of the gas giant Cernunnos. Ancient asteroid strikes deposited major ions of element 0 within the molten surface mantle. Eldfell Ashland energy mining operations made it the largest source of Starship drive core material in the Attican Traverse, which threatened Caleston's native biodiversity with industrial waste. Caleston is racked with volcanism due to tidal stresses from Cernunnos. Because of weak solar output, planet-like life on Caleston is not carbon-based and photosynthetic, but silicon-based and thermosynthetic, requiring heat rather than sunlight to power chemical reactions. These organisms flourish in volcanic vents and during solar flares when Balor, Caleston's sun, can double or triple in luminosity. Oxygen-breathing habitations is not possible outside its many domed cities. The cities are now feasts for the Reapers, who drove off Caleston's protective fleet and now threaten to puncture domes to force the population into submission. Cernunnos, is a sizable gas giant with high nitrogen content. It is believed to be an extrasolar capture due to its close stellar location in a rare phenomenon. It is near enough to its red dwarf star to be within the life zone, although its massive size prevents the tidal lock that usually occurs at this range. While nothing could survive on the surface of a planet with such crushing gravity, Cernunnos moon's Caleston has life. Cernunnos was skimmed for its abundant hydrogen, and refineries on Caleston processed it into a metastable metallic form for use as a starship fuel. The Reapers have since destroyed this operation. Bres. A member of the former Belt, Bres is a dwarf planet with no atmosphere. It is, however, rich in lithium. Yeah, lithium is written in small letters. In lithium, which is integral to the heat sinks of many starships and handheld weapons. A large robo-mining operation from Caleston once existed here, but the miners quickly abandoned the area when they learned they were in the path of the Reapers. Partholon. A large planet composed of ice surrounding a rocky core. Partholon retains trace gases of nitrogen and carbon monoxide. Its crushing gravity makes for an inhospitable stay and mining largely infeasible. However, its orbit proximity to the mass relay in the system means space travelers will, for the next few years, use it for gravitational slingshot to add speed on their way to and from Caleston. Elatha. A tiny rock planet, Elatha is noted for its frigid temperature and crushing nitrogen and krypton atmosphere. Lying out beyond the former belt, there's little to recommend it. Really? That's quite sad. Alright, now what do I need to do in order to get this one to 100% though? There's nothing there.
Signal confirmed.
Oh, crap, hold on. I have to get to Bres real quick. Oh, this is so not cool. I need to get fuel. Question, should I get fuel now or later? Synthdiamond heat sinks. Let's get this one real quick. Then we can leave.
Evasion successful.
Okay. Kind of wasted, really. But this one is scanned for Dr. Gonne, so that's actually quite good. Then we probably have to leave in here somewhere. There's a hidden station. Somewhere over there. Alright, so we have to scan this one for sure. Let's just start with this one, with Sheer. A remote rock planet capped in ice. Sheer has been exploited by Vunar corporations for its minerals. Home to gold veins, used in spaceship shielding as well as jewelry, and cobalt deposits, used in high tensile alloys. Sheer's resources show no signs of being exhausted anytime soon. A light gravity helps keep the planetary exploitation process cheap. Alphormus. A hydrogen-helium gas giant, Alphormus had its helium-free refueling stations destroyed in an attack by Grow Zero, an anti-population terrorist group that wanted to stop further immigration to Vana. A consortium of Vana-based corporations are currently rebuilding these stations. Alliance Advisory. Alphormus is not considered vital to the stability of the Aysur system. Civilians working on the helium-free platforms should not expect Alliance military intervention in case of kidnapping or other violence. Basically meaning we don't care. And Tamgauta. The outermost planet of the Aysur system, Tamgota, is remote and largely unexplored. Its carbon dioxide atmosphere has long since frozen into fields of dry ice. Yeah, wait a minute, there was something here in the north, wasn't there? Got that one. Ooh.
We have
Mahavid.
located Garneau.
Ooh, okay, and this is where Garneau is. Good. So, Dranen. A sizable hydrogen-helium gas giant, just on the far side of its pale yellow star's frost line. Dranen is known for its spectacular storms. At least 3 persistent observable spots. Actually, cyclonic and anticyclonic storms have lasted for over 544 years, significantly longer than Jupiter's Great Red Spot. The largest of these spots, the Ishna, has consistently held a diameter of 3 times that of Earth. Dranen has 44 moons. 2 of them are of special interest to the Citadel Committee on Habitable Worlds. The first, Vana, is a life-bearing planet that has already been colonized. The second, Alahia, is slowly being terraformed into an ammonia-based world for Volo's population. It's not a planet, it's a moon, and it was called a world. So, Avuna. Avuna, a moon of Dranen, is classified as a water world because oceans, or ice, cover 90% of its surface. Besides prodigious sea life, Avuna is home to a host of venomous arthropods, pests in the tropical zone, with metallic carapaces similar to those found on Palaven, to resist radiation coming from Dranen's magnetosphere. There are several well-shielded human colonies on Avuna, although they are alienated from the council and political insignificant to the traverse and terminus systems. The Reapers have yet to reach Avuna, concentrating instead on the Balor system. While this cuts Avuna off from their cluster's mass relay, it is at least some evidence that the Reapers cannot be everywhere at once. Agnin. A hothouse planet. Agnin's scorching clouds of methane and sulfur dioxide give the planet a pale green color in visible light. The SO2 from volcanic activities rates down as sulfuric acid in the upper atmosphere, but this is boiling away before the liquid reaches the surface. Agnin's harsh environment has prevented exploitation by anything except probes. Shazu. Shazu is a dwarf planet that is believed to have been ejected from Agnin during a giant impact with another planet-sized body. At the time, a magma ocean covered much of Agnin's surface. The liquid rock sprayed into space, where it coalesced and cooled over millions of years. It is theorized that during this cooling, Shazu orbited Agnin, but was eventually pulled from the orbit by the gravity well of other planets, primarily Dranen. Today, Shazu is relatively tempered, with a light hydrogen-helium atmosphere that attracts spacers who use its atmosphere to refuel. Its crust composition is similar to Agnin, evident in its high sulfur content. Alright. So
I found something.
this one was it says I haven't really recovered it, but this is the 50%, and the other 50% is over here. And because this is next to a mission, that means there are no Reapers coming up. It's actually quite nice. So this one is now at 100%, and the system itself is also at 100%, and Mahavid, southwest. Okay, I have to write that down. But for now, we're going to end this episode, which was all about talking and whatnot. Let's just look at private terminals. Nothing. Alright, so let's end the episode right now. Also codec stuff we're gonna do in the next one. And for now. Like and subscribe, of course, as usual. Ta-ta!